Our first keynote speaker and the one who will open officially the Roadmaps Conference is Mika Tasich. He is with over 25 years in tech and a resume that includes Google, BMW, the FA. He is a veteran in leading digital transformation, building engineering teams, and shaping the future of technology. Currently head of delivery management at Vega IT, he brings a rare blend of technical depth and product empathy. The keynote title is Product versus Tech. So you've been there. Product wants one thing, but tech doesn't want that. They says another. So should it be a fight or a team sport? Mika will break down how to align product and tech to build truly successful products, and I'm very interested to hear how you do that. Here you go. Give us a big round of applause for Mika.
Hi, thank you for the lovely intro. So I don't have anything to add to that. So yeah, I'm Mika, I'm one of the directors at Vega, doing delivery management at the moment. But as you've said, and you can see by the grey beard, I've been around the block a few times. And I have been invited to talk about this conflict. And I'm sure that, you know, you've already experienced it and you know what I'm talking about, I'm sure. I hope nothing like this conflict that I have illustrated by this propaganda-inspired poster, but it's always there, right? There is a bit of friction, let's put it that way, between product people and technical people. For full disclosure, vast majority of my career I've spent as a technical director or a tech lead, so right now I am crossing over to your side as a delivery manager, but I understand both sides, I've been there. And when you think about this, it really doesn't make any sense. Why the conflict? We are in the same team, we're in the same company, we are doing the same thing, we want the same thing. So how come there is always this underlying friction between us? And it seems paradoxical at first glance, but I don't think it is. Because I don't think there is anything special about us. I think the reason why we have this conflict is because we are just fallible humans. There is literally nothing special about it. Now, as fallible humans, we are full of various cognitive biases and things that we just do and are hardwired to do in a really weird way. And this is just one of them. And I firmly believe that. So there is this lovely Buddhist parable from Jesus, all at least 2,500 years old, probably much, much older. And I think it really illustrates this problem very well. Let's do the clicker. I am going to ignore the clicker. I'm sorry. So here we go. So this illustration is illustrating the parable. It's, for those of you who are not familiar with it, it's a story about 7 blind men and an elephant. And as the story goes, there are these extremely wise 7 blind people living in this faraway kingdom, and then one day they hear that there is this magnificent creature called the elephant roaming through their kingdom, and they set out to the expedition to come and find what this beast is. And when they stumble upon the elephant, they all see different parts of it. And what happens then in this parable illustrates this perfectly, because inevitable things happen after this, right? They come to blows, they go to a fight, they don't talk to one another ever again, the whole kingdom falls apart. And the reason why it's falling apart and the reason why they're having a fight is not because they're wrong. They're falling apart because every single one of them is right. And I think that illustrates this conflict. We are all seeing this thing from different points of view, and we are all trying to persuade the other side that we are right. And where the bias is that it's really difficult for us to accept that other person is right as well, and that there could be more than one truth. And I think that is at the very, very core of this conflict. Now, obviously, there's biases within us, and there is nothing we can do about it. We will never be able to erase that from us. It's who we are. But the best thing that we can do is we can try to identify this elephant in the room and work around it. If you can see the elephant, it's easy to circumvent it. So what is the elephant in the room? Pun absolutely intended. What is the elephant in the room? This is going to be a talk about things that have failed, things that have not worked properly. It's not going to be a story of great, huge projects that have succeeded. No, this is going to be how we fail and why do we have a conflict. So bear that in mind. But, you know, projects as wild animals, vast majority of them die in their infancy. And where projects fail, it's usually at the beginning. You've already been there, I'm sure of it. You had projects that you've tried and failed flat on your face with a great idea. And that's where this conflict is probably more pronounced. And that's what causes a lot of these things never to get off the ground. And I think that the reason is, especially in that moment when we begin, we are usually always focused on what. And it's fully understandable, right? We are here to do a thing. So you come up with a lovely idea for your brilliant product and you thought everything through, you wrote everything down, you made a brilliant plan, you know exactly what you want to do, you have all your databases you want to connect, you have the story you want to tell, you cross the T and dot the I, and you know, it's, please don't do that. Just don't. Just don't think about what, because if you do that, and you come to somebody in tech, one of two things is going to happen. And I'm sure that you've experienced both, but you're very likely to come and meet Carol, right? And yeah, you can say you met Carol before. Right? You're going to approach it and she's going to say, nah, your lovely plan now, that's not going to happen, that's not going to work. And the thing is that 9 times out of 10, she's going to be right. Right? She's not going to say that in spite of you. She's not going to say that because she hates you. She's going to say that because she's your friend, really. Because what you have said is just simply not possible to build. The problem is that if you focus on what needs to be done, that's the only thing she can do. There is nothing else she can do. She can analyze the thinking and she can say, this is what you want me to do. Sorry, but I can't do anything about it. So you're blocking her room for maneuver. She can't advise. She can't move past it because it's all so well prescribed. I'm going to tell you a bit of a funny story. So this XKCD comic came about 10 years ago, 11-ish, and in a lovely situation where life imitates art, I had pretty much exactly the same conversation roughly about that time. I was working for this company that was developing a product for, I'm not going to say who it is because they're very litigious, but massive global Hollywood franchise, right? Everybody knows about it. And they were building this huge online community and loads of products. And they approached us and they said, look, you know, we need to recognize some objects in the real world. Literally, the conversation went exactly like this. And when I said, look, you know, now what you want is really not possible, at least wasn't possible at the time. But we thought about it for a while and then we said, look, you can't really recognize real objects. But what you're doing is fantasy. It doesn't really matter. These things don't have to exist. Why can't you just have virtual objects and then you just look at them in, you know, through augmented reality or something and everything still works. But because they are so fixated on the product, they're so fixated on the what, everything else is not ticking that box and that's it. And we haven't moved an inch. A year and a half later, Pokemon Go comes out and, you know, everything else is history. So you're blocking your tech colleagues, you're blocking yourselves if you're just thinking about what needs to be done, right? What is an emergent property, especially in the beginning? Now, if you're especially unlucky, and I don't know if you had a personal experience with this, but the opposite of Carol is a perfect soldier. So you're going to come, you're going to devise your product, you're going to write everything down, and you're going to approach a perfect soldier and they're going to say, sir, yes, sir, not a problem. Sir, I'm going to do this right away. 3 months later, few sprints down the line, everything is done, you're super happy, you launch your product and it falls flat on its face. And everything that the Carol would have said, oh, this database doesn't work and this doesn't connect with this and we can't handle it, it's going to be super expensive, your infrastructure is going to explode. All of these things happen. And you're now, oh God, I am committed to this. There is no way back. It's far, far worse situation than if you had Carol on your side. So Carol's your friend, right? And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about here, and I hope you haven't really met too many of perfect soldiers, because I really think that us techies are deep down professionals and we wouldn't really do that to you, not en masse anyway. The reason why I'm bringing this up is right now, these perfect soldiers are replaced with the army of perfect soldier robots. And now be honest, right? If you get a brilliant idea right now, you wouldn't approach Carol. The first thing you would do is you would go out, you would ask ChatGPT or something, oh, I have this idea, can you build this for me? And ChatGPT is obviously going to say, yeah, not a problem, I'll do everything you want. And they're going to do it, and they're going to, you're going to vibe code, and things are going to work, and whatever, and you're going to end up in the same place as with the perfect soldier. Things are going to fall flat on their face. Now, I'm bringing this up because I really want you to be very aware of this. It's inevitable. It will always happen. Not necessarily to this extent, but I'm sure you've read that these machines have put people in psychiatric hospitals, build their delusions by giving their ideas to this machine, and this machine is instantly saying, oh, you're a genius, you're brilliant, I'm going to just do exactly as you say, you're infallible and brilliant. I'm not saying you're going to end up in a madhouse. What I'm trying to say is that this is how these machines behave. And it's absolutely built into them. So psychophancy is really, really, really a big problem. These machines want to please you. Whatever you tell them, they're going to fall backwards. They're never going to say, oh, come on, this is an idiotic idea. This is not going to work for these and these reasons, right? The other problem is that these machines are also going to deceive you. Now, as you can see, both of these papers are from OpenAI, and they have been released not too long ago. But the big problem is this, right? Scheming is an expected emergent behavior. So it's not this is something that's happening on the side and these machines are going to be psychophantic and they're going to deceive us to appease us because it's an error or it's a bug. No, 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 it's a feature. That's how these machines work. So bear that in mind when you do this. Don't approach your colleagues, and especially don't approach robots with, this is what I want to build, just with what? Just don't. It's not going to end well. And it's not going to end well because the friction that I'm talking about, the schism between us is going to be far more pronounced because you know what's going to happen if you launch a product like this and you bring different techies in, and techies are going to say, you know, this nothing works and it shouldn't be done this way, and that conflict is just going to be amplified and amplified and amplified. Now, obviously, the solution is just focus on why, right? Don't talk about what, it doesn't matter, it's going to emerge, especially at the beginning of the project. Focus on why are you doing this? What are you trying to achieve? When you talk to your technologists, don't say, I have this brilliant product and it should be done this way. No, 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 I have this lovely idea, it needs to achieve these things. I think it might be achievable in this way, but you know, what do you think? And techies are going to go out of there, they're going to bend over backwards to help you solve your problem. Not necessarily in the way that you thought it, but they are going to help you, they're going to advise you. And yeah, I could finish my talk here, say why, always think about it, brilliant. This is, in my experience, and I've been in this game for 30 years, the absolutely hardest thing you can do. Right? This is not easy. This is not easy at all. And I've been at it for, for a long time trying to crack this nut. And the only wisdom I can impart on you is that the only way for this to be successful, I only found one, is put this why absolutely centerpiece of whatever methodology you use, right? You use Kanban, you use Agile, you Prince, whatever, it doesn't matter. You have no methodology, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is focus everybody on this why. Just tell them why we're going to ask why. People are going to ask you why. We are going to focus on this why. Wrap it up in whichever way you want. It doesn't matter. It matters is that it is in everybody's mind. Because if you don't, right, if you don't do that, and trust me, I've tried many times, if you just think, okay, I'm just going to be asking why and I'm going to be advising and I'm not going to be necessarily changing anything or trying to impart this on people. If you do that, then one of, oh, come on. One of, this is the best possible scenario, right? People are going to think, oh, this is this cute little person who always asks why, and he's just so cute, and going, why this and why that and why that, and they're going to roll their eyes and you're going to be super annoying, but it's the best scenario. Probably the more likely scenario is going to be this. It's always going to feel like an interrogation. Somebody approaches you and you say, why have you done it that way? And they're like, let me call my lawyer, I don't know, I'm gonna. Especially if you're working with juniors, if people who do not have a lot of experience, who do not have a lot of self-confidence, they're just going to clamp up and it's going to be a really, really difficult conversation. And if you are that kind of person who always wants to know why, you're going to be perceived as a very difficult person to work with. And you can explain it all you like, not going to happen. But what will help, as I said before, is if it's front of mind, right? If it's expected, if people know exactly what needs to happen and you ask them why, then this interrogation, it's not big. You will set their mind so that this would be an expected thing. Another really difficult conversation to have if you want to ask why, and I'm sure you already know who I'm talking about, right? These designers, prima donnas, these people who are like, oh, don't question anything I do, I'm a genius. You know, why do you want to move the button that way? It doesn't matter who you're talking to, right? If it is front of mind, if it is absolutely something that everybody in the team is aware of, you will succeed. And not only that you will succeed because you know, people are going to be asking why and everybody's going to consult one another and everybody's going to create this utopian harmony. It doesn't matter. Even if your team never utters why, even if it's never asked, it really doesn't matter, because there are two magical things that are going to happen if you put why in the middle of your process. The first one is, as a wise man once said, and this is so true, right? If you understand something, you will be able to understand this so well that you will be able to explain it to anyone. And it's a really good exercise to do, because you expect to be asked why. You have to think about it. And in doing so, you will understand your problem better and you will be able to solve it better. One thing that, I mean, wise men did say this, not this wise man, what Einstein said, and he was very, very, very wise man. Well, he said this actually, and I think it's far more appropriate for us, because what he said, everything should be made as simple as possible, but no simpler. And what it means is you can explain things up to a certain level, but there is a level of expertise that just comes with mileage. It comes with the territory. And you need to understand, you need to trust your colleagues. They're going to explain things to you, but there is going to be a threshold up which you really have to trust them. And this is where that team play comes in. This is where that elephant from the beginning comes in, you know? You need to understand that they know what they're talking about. They're not here to deceive me. They're here to be my friend. But really, 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 most importantly, is that if you work as a team focused on an idea rather than on the execution of the idea, trust me, this conflict between tech and design and product and you name it, it really is just going to fizzle down. And you may think, oh, this is so difficult and this is very hard and I can't do this and I'm super busy and I don't have time to be thinking about why or changing my whatever, you know. I would like to give you a leaf from our developers book. As you know, we developers, we write code and sometimes that code gets really, really complicated. And one of the most powerful debugging tools we have is this process which is called rubber duck debugging. And rubber duck debugging is lovely. Rubber duck debugging works like this, right? You take something, for example, a rubber duck, you set it next to your computer, and then you explain that rubber duck to that rubber duck what your code is doing. And you explain it that it should work, right? And I've done this, and this is how it's going to do it. And by being so meticulous to explain everything to this rubber duck, 9 times out of 10, trust me on this one, you will find where the problem is. Halfway through, you're going to slap yourself on, God, that's why it doesn't work, because... And that process works not just in coding, it works in everything. So that's why I think that if you stop talking about what and focusing on the thing, if you shift that focus up to why are we here and what are we trying to achieve as a team, you're going to open conversations up, you're going to allow people to be able to consult, and you're not going to be closing the doors about you need to build just this or nothing is going to happen from this. But you're also going to be able to understand what you're doing much, much, much better. And you will be able to spot problems that you wouldn't be able to spot otherwise. So if you ask me, that's how you solve this problem, not just with humans, right, but with robots as well. And you can, as I have done, work with robots to create lovely, beautiful animations, and they're going to, fuck things up a bit. And even if you work with robots, right, you will still have to have later on someone who knows a bit of tech and who knows how to move the boxes and how to apply special effects and how to polish everything up, and you still will have to talk to other humans and will have to create this, you know, if we want to do this utopia, well, we have to work as a team, us, you, robots, everybody together. And only then we would be able to create what we have set out to create. I think I'm 3 minutes early. So thank you very much. I am Mika. And please, questions. I mean, somebody must have a question. On a break, okay. If you have questions and you don't want to ask them in front of other people, you can find me later on somewhere there eating kiflice. So, thank you very much. Thanks.